Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving right into a seriously fascinating approach to youth education. We're going to unpack how mastering your everyday basic senses can actually build the foundational framework for real-world analytical skills. We so often just sleepwalk through our daily lives on total autopilot, right? We absorb information, sure, but we aren't really processing it. But what if we could train the next generation, and honestly, let's include ourselves in that, to see and hear the world with absolute laser-like precision? Well, that's exactly the detective's journey we are going on today. So let me ask you this. Are you missing the hidden clues right in front of you? Are you truly noticing your environment? Or are you just sort of letting the daily noise wash right over you? Think about your morning routine for a second, or your commute to work. How much of the world just entirely fades into the background? Becoming a skilled observer means realizing that there is a massive wealth of information, literal hidden clues, embedded in our everyday surroundings. If we aren't actively paying attention, we are totally missing out on critical data that could help us navigate our lives so much more effectively. Moving right along, let's look at Section 1, Skills Beyond the Classroom. Okay, so let's define what we're talking about here. Beyond School Skills is this incredibly unique educational initiative. It's focused heavily on equipping youth with highly practical life competencies. We're talking about critical thinking, leadership skills, the kind of essential real-world abilities you absolutely won't find in a standard academic textbook. They pull this off through interactive, expert-led online sessions that challenge students to basically step way outside their traditional comfort zones and engage with the world in a much more structured and analytical way. That brings us to Section 2, the Visual Detective Challenge. Now, a core component of this program is sharpening observational precision and attention to detail. It's basically a visual detective challenge. Think about it. We live in a world that absolutely bombards us with visual data all day long. This exercise actively trains participants to focus their eyes and identify the really crucial nuances, while totally filtering out all that irrelevant visual noise. It's teaching them to instantly recognize what actually matters when they're looking at a super busy, chaotic scene. But here is the thing. Our eyes are really just one tool in this whole process. We have the visual detective on one hand, focusing on seeing those important nuances. But on the other hand, we have the audio detective. Our ears act as these incredibly powerful parallel tools. It's all about training the brain to listen for hidden clues that aren't necessarily visible. And that proves that filtering auditory noise is just as critical for building a complete 360-degree situational picture. And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, listening for hidden clues. The curriculum really drives this whole idea home with a fantastic quote. It says, "Our eyes are amazing, but guess what? So are our ears. Super detectives also listen very carefully." I just love that energy. It is such a great foundational reminder that our hearing acts as an always-on tool. It's working around corners, it's working in the pitch dark, constantly gathering data that we literally can't physically see. Just consider some really common sound clues for a moment. A bird chirping, a car honking, a school bell ringing, a cat meowing, or even just rain falling. The curriculum uses these totally basic auditory inputs to teach a surprisingly vital lesson in cognitive processing. It frames the human brain as a kind of decoding engine. By actively asking students to parse out, say, whether a dog's bark is friendly or if it's a warning, they are actually practicing rapid data synthesis and environmental assessment. It is so cool. Let's tie this all together in Section 4, Navigating the Digital Landscape. So this entire methodology follows a super clear 4-step progression. Step 1, observe. That means actively looking and listening. Step 2, filter out all that irrelevant background info. Step 3, identify the really important hidden nuances. And finally, Step 4, build your perception. By methodically repeating this exact loop over and over, students aren't just learning how to hear or see better, they are actively building the exact mental frameworks required for true, deep situational perception of the world around them. So you might be wondering, why does all this foundational sensory training actually matter? Well, it's about building professional confidence and strategic advantages. These micro skills of sensory observation scale directly into macro traits that you need in the real world. In today's incredibly complex, totally oversaturated digital landscape, the core mechanics are exactly the same. The neural pathways that you build by identifying a meaningful sound over background noise, those are the exact same pathways you use to parse high-level digital data later in life. The person who can efficiently filter digital noise, pinpoint strategic nuances, and build accurate perceptions, that is the person who holds the ultimate strategic advantage. All right, so I want to leave you with a final thought to take away from this explainer today. How will you use your own detective senses to filter out the noise and find the hidden clues in your environment today? Seriously? Are you going to let the world just wash over you, or are you ready to activate that inner observer? The clues are out there waiting. Go find them.